Awesome. So today we are going to continue from where we left off yesterday. And today we are handling a different unit. And yesterday we had seen when we ran a few commands, we had seen something to do with users and groups. And so we talked about it. And so today we'll be doing a little bit of a deep dive into users and groups and just get to understand how users and groups are created and managed in Linux. So that is the focus of our class this morning. And so that's what we are going to do. And then Jay will be us in the afternoon, tackling another aspect still under Linux fundamentals. So welcome to this class. And by the end of this class, here are the objectives. You are supposed to be able to manage user accounts, manage group accounts, elevate permission by using su and sudo commands, and then describe in a high overview kind of a way AWS identity and access management, aka IAM, and authentication services that Amazon Web Services uses, and the authentication services that Amazon Web Services uses. So here we are just going to do a high overview introduction to AWS IAM, but later on in the course, again, we'll do a deep dive in the same. This is a very important service because it is the service that is used to define permissions in the AWS environment. It defines permission. By defining permission, same thing that we talked yesterday about auth and auth N and auth Z, authentication and authorization. What we talked about yesterday, that authentication is giving you permission to get into a place, or giving you permission to get into something. You're authenticated into a system. And then authorization is once you're into that system, what parts of the system can you access? You see, what parts of the system can you access? So there is a service in AWS called IAM. So that is what gives you permission, you as a user. And then when we get into that, we'll talk about things to do with the roles. We'll talk about policies and the likes. All that, we'll be talking about it when we now start doing deep dive into AWS IAM. But for today, we'll just touch kidogo because it's just like a slide. That just introduces you to that, so that now when we mention it again later, you'll remember that by the way, when we are doing a topic on Linux users and groups, we touched on IAM, or IAM was introduced to us. So that is very, very important. Next, we look at managing users. So this is where we are going to start from, managing users. And yesterday, I remember when we ran a specific command, you are able to see something like UID. UID was the user ID. And then when we span our instance, and then we ran the command, who am I? Who am I? It was able to tell us who the user was, who the user that had been logged in to that system at that time was. So I have already created an instance. I created an instance before the class started. And so let me see if I learned something yesterday. Someone told us that you can actually change the font. So let's see if I understood the process myself. Change that font. And then let us make it big, about 36. So that you guys can see. There you go. Awesome. So let me go back one step, and then let me do a clear. So I'm saying that when you enter this command, who am I? It tells you, it gives you your username. So that is the user, EC2-user. That is the user that is in this, that is currently authenticated into the system. That is the user, EC2-user. So you see now, at least from this point moving forward, we will use words such as authenticated, authorized with ease, because we've already introduced that concept to you. And so you've seen when you run who am I, you are able to see that. Okay, so user accounts represent users on the system. Then user information can be stored locally or on another server accessible through a network. So you have that flexibility of either saving user information locally, meaning in that device which you are currently using, or in another server. There might be another server that is connected to the server that we currently have. And sometimes this other server can even be a database server. So the user information can also be stored in that other server. And that other server is what we call, is what we say that it should be connected to our current server through what? Through a network. So that is very important. Then when information is stored locally, Linux stores it in the /etc/password file, /etc/password file. Let me show you that that directory. So the /ecd etc, not ec, it is etc/etc directory. You can see it here by doing cd. So cd, for those who are new to command language, cd is simply change directory. We use cd to change directory. So maybe you have a couple of directories, and by the way, let me take a step back. Sorry, let me take a step back and just do make directory, because you don't have any visible directories in this that you guys can see with ease. Let me make 2 directories. So I'm going to make a directory and call it let me call it Lanly1. That's a directory. A directory is simply a folder. So that is Lanly1. Enter. Wait a minute. Oh, cannot. Oh, no worries. Let me try and elevate my permission just a second. Isn't she does a labs? There are things that you cannot do, especially if it is not part of the lab. Lanly1, let me see if this will agree. Okay, so I've elevated my permission, and I'll talk to you guys about sudo, and then let me do another one. Lanly2. Okay, then when I do ls is used to list what is there, to list the files and folders that are in my system. So in my current path. So when I do ls, you can see these are the many files that are available. And then in addition to what is already in the system, we also have what? We also have Lanly1, the one that I've just created, and we also have Lanly2. These are the 2 files that I have created. So you can see that they are inside our system. So if I want to change my directory and go into Lanly1, for example, I want to access Lanly1, I can simply do cd. Let me move this one like this. Yes. So I can do cd Lanly L. When I try to autocomplete using my tab, it refuses because we have 2 Lanlys. You see, we have Lanly1 and Lanly2. So I just need to type that one in its entirety. Let me go to Lanly1, cd into it. I have cd'd into Lanly1, and you can see here, now we are into Lanly1. So if I want to create a file there, I can do a simple touch and call this one file _1.txt, for example. Oh, that's comma, _1.txt, for example. Again, see, permission denied because when this lab was created by AWS, this particular user was not given permission to create files, was not given permission to create what? To create folders. But we can go around that in a simple way by using what we call sudo. So if we do sudo touch is our command that we are trying to use to create that file. Let us try and see if we'll be able now to create the file. And _1.txt. Enter. So it has created sudo super user do. So sudo is super user do, and we'll talk about it in a slide or two. Give me a second. Okay, thank you. I'm back. So I'm saying sudo is super user do. So you see, we have said super user do. So it is like we are elevating the permission of this current user to be able to do things which they are like not authorized to do in their current status. So they need to be elevated or be taken up a step higher from being a normal user. Again, I'm mentioning this, but you'll see them in the notes, a normal user to an admin user. So by giving them the sudo permission, the sudo privileges, they are able to do what they will not be able to do ordinarily in their current status. So here, if you do ls, let's do an ls here and see if our file has been created, ls. You see, we have our, sorry, yeah, it's the screen. Yeah, there you go. We have our file.txt. We have our file.txt that has been created inside Landly. So that is the process of creating files and creating folders. If you are a normal user and you'd like to create a file or a folder, and in that system, you are a trusted user, you can use sudo. You can use sudo. So we'll talk about sudo. Now, let me go back. This was just a refresher for what we did yesterday. cd ... That was a refresher of what we did yesterday. So again, if we do ls, let's do our, no, let me clear the screen. Let me clear the screen first. Then we do our ls. There you go. So when you do our ls, apart from the two, Landly and Landly 1 and Landly 2, the ones that I created, there are also system directories that are created for us, for this user, by AWS when you get into that lab. So one of those places that I really want us to now look at is this etc. This is the etc directory that I was talking about. This is the etc directory. Let us see if we can cd into it. Let us see cd/etc. It is a directory. So we are into etc. You can see here. We can see here we are now into etc. We have added it to our path. So let us see if we try to list files, if we are able to see. Yes, here are the files that are inside etc. The files and folders, not just files, files and folders inside etc. And you see there are several. You can see them. So when we say that our password is stored in /etc/passwd, this is it. You see this passwd. This is where our password will be. Our password will be stored. That's where our password will be stored. I want to try something that I'm not very sure kama itaonekana, but let us try and see. Okay. Let us try and see. Let us just clear our screen. We are still inside etc. Let us try and view using VI. Let us try and view that passwd and see if it will open. There you go. So this is our password, and our password, if we had set our password is supposed to be stored somewhere here. Password, user. No, it is the user that is stored in the /etc/password. So we will try and see. Once we have created, we'll try and see and come back and see in this place if our new user will be stored here, or where they will be stored. So that is that. Let me see. Pass random only, top, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. So Q exclamation enter, that one closes it. So that is that. So I just wanted to demonstrate a few things just to show you the etc. At least you guys have now seen the etc directory inside our path. So when we are talking about when information is stored locally, Linux stores it in the etc/passwd. Passwd. Someone is asking what is the difference between yes. Mark, I have clarified. It is the username that is stored in that path, the way we had talked about it yesterday. Okay, the way we had talked about it yesterday. So what is the difference between VI and VIM and Vim? Difference between VI and Vim? Anybody who knows the difference between those two? Both of them are editors, but what is the difference between the two? Anybody? You can Google or use Copilot and find us the difference between VI and Vim. Let me see what I'm getting. VI stands for Visual Editor. It's the original text editor that comes with Unix or Linux system. Vim stands for VI Improved. It's an enhanced version of VI with more features and better usability. So that's what I'm getting. Anybody with a different need? Anybody with a different definition? Feel free to yeka hapo. This is relevant. This is relevant because we'll be using this this visual editor a lot. You need an editor to be able to talk to your terminal, you know, to communicate to your terminal. So once you have created a file, you might need to open that file and read its content. One of the ways to read the content of a file and see it displayed on your terminal is via what? Is via using these visual editors. So VI stands for Visual Editor. Vim stands for VI Improve. So it's the Visual Editor Improve, the enhanced version of VI. At least I was not very sure about that, but now at least I've also learned something there. Thank you for that question. That was good. That was good. Give me a second. That was good. That was very, very good. All right. So let us try and run. This is a command called tail. So we want to check, let us run this command before we even read what it does, but it does some amazing stuff, and you will use it, especially when you're doing your system admin work, you will use it. So, so let me get out of this cd ... So again, CD is change directory. It changes a directory to the directory that you want. So if I want to go, let's say for example, when I wanted to go to etc, I did cd etc. So it took me to the etc directory. But now I want to go back to where I came from before I went to etc, or I want to go back to root, for example. What I'll do, I'll now write what? cd ... That ... gives us it gives me that ability to now go back. Now we've gone back, we are out of the etc directory, and now I'm going to run the tail command. And I suspect, let us just run it without sudo first. Tail, let me see, it's tail slash etc slash pass wd. Let me confirm. Yeah, that is that. Tail slash that is what we got there. Let's run and see. There you go. So I thought that it will refuse to run, so that we use sudo, but imekubali. So this is what we get. This is what we get. We are trying to read our file, this file. We are trying to read it, and this is what we get. But you see, it is not giving us everything. Like, for example, if I was to run, good, awesome. Yes. This is what we get. Let us just look at the notes for a second first before we run any other command. So this example shows the content of the passwd file. Tail is a command. Learn this today. If you don't know, tail is a command that displays the last lines of a file. By default, it displays the last 10 lines, but you can adjust the number of lines using the -n option. So remember, tail itself is what? Tail is our command. Then you can add an option to it, and then you give an argument at the end of it. Remember yesterday when we talked about the syntax of a Linux command, then we saw that it has what? It has a command, it has an option, and then it has an argument. So in this structure that we have here, tail in itself is what? Tail is our command. -n5, this is our option. And then this one here is our argument. This is what we want to look at the end of it all. But we have to use this command together with this option for us to really read it, for us to read it. So let us try that and see. And for this one, I want us to be able to see it better. Let me just change something here. my screen is small. Let us just change something kidogo here. Just for appearance change. Let's go for a smaller font. I want it to be demonstrated to fit like that, so that we will be able to see. Now you can see we have them zimejipanga hivi, all of them. So I believe this is like, where is our first one? First one is happy, no login. Okay, so this appears to be our 1. This is our 2. This is our 3. This is our 4. This is our 5. This is our 6th. This is our 7th. This is our 8th. This is our 9th. And then finally, we have this, the whole of this as our 10th. You see, so these are the content, and we can see that it has been given to us line by line, 1 to 10. So I've counted it. Those are the 10 that we have. Now, we are going to try and run this command, and we'll also run a variation of the same. Let us run tail -n 5, just as given, /etc/ /passwd. Okay, passwd. Let's enter. Let us see what we have as our output. Where is that? Here. Let us see what we have as our output. Where is my command? Tail. Here goes. This is our command. This is where we have keyed in our command. So let us copy the number of outputs that we have. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and we have 5. So it depends with the number with the number that you want to see, because sometimes when you are doing maybe you're doing some systems administration work and you want to read logs, this will be a very handy command to use together with the option. So you can use tail -n that, and then let us clear our screen. Let us clear our screen and try another one. Let us now take that command and edit it. So let us try and run and say we want to see 2, for example, 2, and enter. You see, it has given us 2. It has read the content of the file and gave us 2 of those. You know, instead of
Patrick,
yes.
could you pardon the function of the tail command, because the first command you entered, tail/etc/password, it displayed what it did. It display like the last could you just explain it?
Okay,
Please?
so good question. And there is an opposite to the tail command, which you'll also see. But now the tail command is a command that displays the last lines of a file, and by default, it displays the last lines of the file. Last line, maybe even that file has thousands of lines, but it will display the last lines, and by default, it displays the last 10 lines. So if you have like 50 lines ordinarily in the file, it will display the last 10 lines. That is important to note. When you just run the tail command without an option, when you run tail/etc/password, it will display the last 10 lines. Hadi hapo tuko sawa?
Yeah, understood.
Good. And then now, if you want to display a specific number of lines, and those specific number of lines means the last line still. Remember, we had displayed the last 10. So if you want to display the last 2, or if you want to display the last 5 or the last 3, you can run that. You can say tail-n, number of lines you want to display, /etc/password. I hope you're missing, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for the question. I hope when you pia alikuwa nayo swali wamejibika, so that is good. So Linux stores the accounts in the etc/password accounts. Here are user accounts. in the etc/password file, and that one we have already discussed it. And this is like the anatomy of the output that we get. So this here is a user. We have a user. Let me see if we can get it from our own. Yes, we have our user. Then we have a placeholder for the password, and you see it has a number that has been given. And then we have our comment or full name, comment full name. So this one, the user that was authenticated into this system was a Major. That's why you see the name repeated here. But now, if you come and look at it bit by bit, you will see umeandikiwa that from user plus this X, user : X, all the way to this point, this one, the whole of this represents the user up to the X bit. And then from this content all the way here, that is the user ID, UUID. Yeah, that is the user ID, UUID. And then you have your home slash major, home slash major. This is the group ID. This is the group ID, which has the user and the directory that they are in. And then you have, again, a combination of the user plus /bin/bash, giving you the home directory. And then at the end of it all here, we have the default shell. Our default shell in this instance is bash. Our default shell in this instance is bash. This one is just for your understanding. It's not like you'll be asked anywhere, but it's for your understanding, so that now when you have your output, once you've run, you have run the tail command, you will be able to read it and you'll be able to understand it. You'll be able to understand it. So if we go to our example and just look at maybe just one of them, like this one here, chini. Let me put them side by side. You can see EC2 user X, EC2 user. Kidogo tu, give me a second. I want to make it in a way that they can be side by side. Kidogo tu. Imechoma. Oh, so I need to do to chini. Okay, let me place them side by side. In fact, even to do it better, let me just run tail. Let me run the last one. There goes. And then let me clear again my screen and repeat that. There you go. That's what I want. Give me a second. Change settings, change settings. Sorry. So let's make it a bit bigger. Okay. Sawa. There you go. So you can see we have our user, EC2 user, and X. That one covers our user. Then we have 1,000 : 1,000. That is the same as this. That is our UID, user ID. Then we now have, okay, now here you take the whole of this, and then now from our home, this is where we are at. This is where we are at. From our home /user, home / our user here, and then we have our default shell at the end, bash. Bash. So it is not that all of them that you will see in a photo this word for word, but at least you should be able to pick a few things from the output that you are getting. Because even if you look at the other one that we had got as the second line, it did not have everything that we have here. But basically, this is what you should be expecting. That's what you should be expecting in your output. So remember, user ID, group ID, home directory, and default shell. So shell, Joy spoke to us about it yesterday, bash, cache, and then we also saw there's another one called fish. Yes, so the pass.wd file contains registered users on the system. It is formatted as a separated file that contains the following information. You saw username, encrypted password, in which in our case we have a placeholder, user ID, user groups ID, that is GID, full name of the user, full name of the user, and then home directory of the user, and then the shell that is used after login. the shell that is used after login. So all that detail is very, very important. So default user accounts. Give me a second. Default user accounts. I hope in a flow. I hope it's flowing. Someone is asking me something here. Oh. Okay. Okay. Default user accounts. Yes, so default user account. So default system accounts are created during the installation of Linux and services. That is when you are able now to create this default user accounts. And so when you initially install Linux, for example, for those guys that are using Linux, myself, I use both. I use Windows and I use Linux. My computer is dual boot. Dual boot, for those who don't know, dual boot is the ability to have two operating systems in the same machine. And you can, when you power on your machine for the first time, it gives you a welcome screen, which gives you an opportunity to choose which operating system you'd like to be logged into or to be authenticated into. So I have those two, and I do a lot of my dev work in the Linux bit of my machine, because Windows has its own dramas. And by the way, yesterday, I believe when we stayed behind for office hour support to support guys that were behind in their labs, we were thinking around maybe suggesting, this is just a suggestion to guys who are using Windows, if you'd like to have the feel of how Linux works, you can do it. Because I also remember myself when I was starting Restart, I did not know that there's a possibility to actually have something that simulates Linux in the Windows environment. It is something that we call WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, and it is available in the Microsoft Store, not Microsoft Play Store, Microsoft Store. So you can download Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL. Just let me take that. By the way, store yangu inakuanga wapi? Let me see. Windows. Even taipata kweli hapa na sitapata hapo. Kanafaa kwa hapa chini. It's like I changed everything. Who knows how I can access my Windows Store?
It's Microsoft Store, not Windows.
Oh, yes, Microsoft Store. How can I access it on my machine? Kama nilitoa hiyo nini? How can ni hapa chini?
Just search.
Nikisearch ndaipata. Microsoft Store. Ah, there it is. Awesome. Here it is. I hope haitanifungulia nini. Ah, there you go. There you go. So you go to your Microsoft Store. Thank you for that, Microsoft Store. Let's see. Storm, why are you not showing me things haraka? Okay, give it a second. There you go. So here, kwa store, you can just search WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. See, I have typed. Badejamka. Okay, let's speed that. Sasa inataka kunipatia WhatsApp. Sijaambia nipatie WhatsApp. Just a second. WSL. So there is WSL2. If you can get this WSL2, even better. Even better. Because later on, when we'll be doing things to do with how do you call this thing? When we'll be doing things to do with Docker. Yeah, Docker. When we'll be doing things to do with Docker, unaweza pata kuna compatibility issues with WSL1. So here, when I did it the first time, kuna WSL directly, Ama we have to pick the one of these Ubuntus. Does it come already with the WSL? Somebody. Nani ameweka WSL kwa mashini yake? Sorry. Nani ameweka WSL kwa mashini yake? Okay, so we will find a tutorial for you guys, the guys that are interested kuweka WSL, but basically kulikuwa na WSL yenyewe unaweka kwa mashini yako. Maybe wame back into this nini, like this one, install a complete Ubuntu terminal environment in minutes with Windows Subsystem Linux. So maybe you choose mwenye hana, you can try and choose one of these, and if you can choose any of the current ones, it's even better, like 24.04. Maybe you can try that, get it. Once you've gotten it, install it. I already have it in my machine, so I will not get it again. I already have it. Once you get it, you get it. So now we will not do that. So someone try that and then see. So if you use PowerShell, you will have to run those commands. And now what PowerShell will do, PowerShell will have to go and fetch it for you. Sindio Basil, from the internet, Ama, what do you mean use PowerShell? Masaibu yetu kama watu ya Windows. Let me try running this as an administrator and see. PowerShell WS. Okay, there goes WSL. Inakuwa dash version. Mama, let's try. Yeah. So this one, my machine will Mwambie, it already has WSL. So if you want to, it will download it directly. So using PowerShell, running PowerShell as an administrator, the way I've done it, wacha niende pole sasa zingine mimi hufanya vitu haraka. So let me just demonstrate that for you. So anatuambia kutumia, it will download it directly for you. So just a footer, search for PowerShell. So we have our PowerShell, and then once you have our PowerShell, you can run as administrator. Once you run it as an administrator, it will open this shell for you to use. And then here you can do like, for example, what I did for me, I did WSL version. This is what you use to check if an application that you want to download or you want to use is already installed. So when I ran, this is what I got. This is what I got. It shows me that I have WSL, and that's the version that I have in my system. Cool. So that is the version that I have in my system. That is what it's showing me. Okay. That is what it is showing me. Cool. So after we have done this and we have seen that this is what we have, we are now okay. But now, if you don't have WSL, I believe you run, let me look for that command. Is it WSL - install, Ama? Let me see. Command to download WSL. Yes, download. Yeah, Ivy, thank you.
Hello.
So it is. Mute yourself, please. Usichome. Someone is on the call. Hey, who that?
Na gunero ete jamaa uzu wa airport.
Yawa.
Wandoende.
Hey.
Mama wazine deri.
Okay, let me find them and mute them.
Mute him.
Ni nani? Najaribu kumtafuta.
Wale jamaa wazine tu mfaita nina base
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Hey, people, please mute yourself when you're in class. You can easily ban. Tunaweza pata details zenye si zetu. WSL dash install. That was that was interesting. Anyway, please do mute yourselves. So wanasema we use WSL dash install. Let us try that one out. Use space in a community. Sorry, WSL dash install. Yangu sidhani kama ita install. I already have it. Oh, it's installing again. Okay. So when you do that, that is what it will do. It will install WSL to your system. It will install WSL to your system, and now you'll be able to try and experience the Linux environment whenever in a car. Although again, bado haitakupatia ile feel kabisa ya Linux, because problem with Windows is that it still has a lot of issues. That's why even for dev work, sometimes we prefer not using. How do I kill this process? I don't want it to finish. Good, I've killed it. Control-C, killed it. Okay, so this is it will just give you an emulation, a simulation. It will simulate Linux, but it's not really the Linux. If your machine is strong enough and you can do dual boot, even better. If your machine is strong enough and you can do dual boot, even better. And dual boot, if you're not familiar with the ways around your computer, please take it to a fundi, tell them what you want, or take it to a computer guy, tell them what you want. Personally, I did it for myself. I looked for a tutorial and I followed it with fingers crossed. But I had already backed up my crucial files as a Windows somewhere else before I did it. So sometimes pia ni vizuri pia experiment these things. You learn by doing. Umesikia kasauti fulani au kasauti sikapendangi sana. You learn by doing. Good. Awesome. So, let me see what Musembi has shared. What is that Musembi has shared? Let's see. Musembi has shared something qua chat. Yes. You see, look at that. For his, it's installing. That is very nice. That is very, very nice. I think mine was hanging because I already have it. And if anything, I did not even want to reinstall it. I already had it. So that is good. So those who would like to try, the process is search for PowerShell, run as administrator, then go and run WSL -- install kwa PowerShell yako. It is supposed to fetch it for you and install it on your system. And then you can try it out. Let me see, WSL. You see, I already have it. And this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like on my system. Give it a second, iwake. Give it a second, that iwake. There you go. So if I do something like pwd, present working directory, it shows me that I'm actually at root. Do I have any files that I can see? ls, there is nothing. What about ls-l? There are 0 files there. So that is my file, and everything else that you are doing, you could actually see it here. So this is how mine looks like, my WSL looks like, the terminal window. So if you've seen us use it kwa EC2, so this is just a terminal like that one. Then maybe in the next class that I will be with you guys, when we'll be doing a class, I will try and authenticate myself before class into my Linux, the Linux side of my machine, and just show you how Linux looks like. But Joy also has Linux, I believe. She will be able to show us how it looks like. And for her, I believe she told us that she's using Debian. Joy, you're using Debian, right? I'm on Ubuntu. I'm on Ubuntu. I'm in Ubuntu. And then I had some people are using Fedora, others are using this other distribution, Kali Linux. Kali Linux is an operating system for, there is also Parrot. Yes, there is Parrot. There is also Parrot. So that is awesome. That is really, really awesome. Good. Cool. So we are good up to that point. So that was a good digress, but it was relevant for what we are doing. Now let's talk about default. Let's talk about default user account. So default system accounts are created during the installation of Linux and services. For example, a root user account is created during the installation. I've just shown you in my Kali, not my Kali, I wish. I've just shown you in my WSL. You've seen the root that I'm in, which allows the administration of the system. So your root account has the highest privilege. The root account is the owner of the account and is able and is both authenticated and authorized in all parts of the system. So they are able to give permissions to other users. So other users that come into the system are able to be given up permissions. Same thing that we said yesterday, the owner of the house is able to give you permission and tell you that, by the way, yes, I know that you've come in as a user or you've come in as a guest that is only able to access the sitting room. You're my guest, but because you're sleeping over, I'm now giving you permission to use the guest room. You know, but if you are just coming and going, maybe you will not even have that privilege of going to the guest room. But now you have been given permission to get into the guest room by the owner of the house, the root user. The root user gives other users permission to use different sections of the system. So that is very important. After ikifika time that you guys are now working as system administrators, you will find yourselves that maybe you are placed in that place where you're now the administrator of the account. You have the administrator privileges of the system, the organizational system. So when a new person is hired into the system, you might need to create credentials for them. So it is you that will give them credentials, and those credentials will do two things for them. It will give them the authentication. First of all, that they will be able to show up at your login credential, they'll be able to log in. After they've logged in, you will also have defined their access. What can they access? Kama ni watu wa HR, they'll only access what is relevant to perform their function. There is something that we'll talk about later called the principle of least privilege. Least privilege. Least privilege simply means, let me mention it here so that when we get to it, you'll understand. Least privilege means you give users only the permissions that they need, sufficient permissions they need for them to do this, to do the tasks that they are assigned to do. Unaona, kama ni watu wa HR, you give them only permissions that they need to do their HR functions. Kama ni watu wa accounts, you give them only permissions they need to do that. If it is devs, you give them only permissions that they need to work as developers. You see, so you don't give everybody same permissions, or you don't give everybody permissions to Maramoja to PAP at you make everybody an admin. And sometimes even as a system administrator, you can grow lazy, especially if you, for example, you are working with an organization that is fast-paced and you don't have run books, you don't have policies that define how users are supposed to be given permissions, you can make a mistake and give everybody same permissions. That is an error, because if you give people permissions that exceed what they need, you are exposing the system to possible what do you call it? You are expressing it to possible harm, because there is that possibility. There is that possibility of what when you work within an organization to be a threat to the system. That's what we call insider threat. So for those who will proceed and do security, be it cybersecurity or cloud security, you will, or system security, you'll come you'll come to learn that the biggest percentage of threats that organizations face today is not even from external people, but it's from internal people. So if you give everybody permission to access everything, then it is possible someone can actually expose your system to harm, either knowingly or unknowingly. Knowingly means people steal information from you and go and sell. Insider threat means an employee can steal maybe proprietary information from your systems and go and sell it to others for financial gain. Or unknowingly, there is something again in security that we call phishing attacks, or there are other variations. Let me not get into that at this point, but let me just use an example of a phishing attack. You receive an email that looks like you've received it from the CEO. You click on it, and then by clicking on it, it redirects you to a page, a landing page of sorts, where you key in you key in your stuff. When you key in your login and your username, someone, we call this one a threat actor or a bad actor. This bad actor is able to pick this they're able to pick this once you've logged in, because this system is them that they have created it for you. It has directed you to their playground. Then they're able to use this now to get into the system. And now, because you have been given maximum permission, you have been given maximum permission, they'll now be able to navigate the other systems and get things that you yourself will not maybe be able to get, or will not interest you. Maybe you even have customer information, you have credit card numbers, stuff like that. They'll be able to get there and get all that. And by doing that, they will expose your organization and its system to harm, which is not a good thing. So this thing is very, very important. And here I'm talking to future system admins. When you will be creating users and when you'll be creating user groups, make sure that you only give them permissions that are necessary for them to do their work. I hope you may think. List privilege ikikuja exam mtu asijaribu kudunda. I've spent time to explain it, but we will talk about it some more uko nyuma. Yes, Rich, I can see you are talking about networks. In networks, we call it VLAN configuration. Yes, when I was doing CCNA, we did things to do with VLAN. That is virtual LAN. That is very, very good. So you configure it properly, so that you make sure that not everybody is able to access your system. That is very good. Thank you, Rich. And then Musembi is talking about maliciously. Yes, when threat actors, when employees, internal employees, for example, access systems that they're not supposed to access, and then they pick things from there and then they go sell them elsewhere, that is considered malicious behavior, and it's not good. It's not good. Always be loyal when you work somewhere. So we saw an example of this, and we spent time just to understand even the anatomy of that output once you run the etc password. And I told you that there is an opposite to the tail command. The opposite to the tail command is called the head command. So the head command is the complementary command of tail. It displays the first 10 lines of a file by default. Unasikia? Ni sawa tuna ile nini? Ni sawa tuna where there's a head. So unajua head, kichwa inakwanga juu, mkia inakwanga chini. Na Musembi situambia ati you flip them. Ati umeshika mtu upside down, so kamkia kako juu, kichwa iko chini. No, we mean that the head, ordinarily, the head is normally up, the tail is normally down. Take an example of, I'll not say a cow, hiyo utaona imekaa tu horizontally. Take an example of a kangaroo. When you look at a kangaroo, the head is normally up, the tail is normally down. Bottom up manenos. No, see bottom up, ni up bottom, ni up bottom. So we have the head up, the tail in the bottom. So when you use tail command, it shows the last 10, unless you use an option. If you use an option of 5, it will show you the last 5. But now when you use the head command, it will show you the first 10 lines of a file, any file. And this is not just the pass.wd file. So any file. So let us try and run the head command. But before that, they are saying you can adjust the number of lines by using the -n option. For example, you can see here head -n/5, this, 5/etc/password. Same thing that we did the other time with the tail command. So the opposite of tail is head. Msawi hiyo. Uzuria IT inatumia two words twenye ina make sense. So mtu hawezi kwama sana. Nimepiga story nikasahau kurestart lab yangu. Wololo. Let me see. I think I've been kicked out. Yeah, I've been kicked. Oh, yeah. I've been kicked out. Wala. This one stings. Nilisahau kuambia mtu anikumbushe. So at this point, you guys can start your labs. Let us start our labs. Let us start our labs. Let us start our labs. And similar to what we did yesterday, you guys will have to create an instance. So I hope you guys are good in terms of creating an instance. We did it yesterday. So I want us to create an instance.
Just a moment.
Yes.
So which lab are we doing?
Today we will be doing lab. If you look at your canvas, you should be able to guess, but let me just get it for you. Give me a second. Unaona vile zimepangwa. The course is imepangwa hivi. So you first of all see the lecture. So the lecture that we are currently doing is Linux users and groups. And then we have a lab below it, lab 229. users and groups. That is the lab that we are doing, 2 to 9. And then we'll do a KC. And then in the afternoon, we'll have Joy taking us through editing files in Linux. You see? Okay. So I hope umepata hiyo lab. Oh man, and I had created my thingy. So let's give it a second. So we will come back to it once it is ready. Let's just push with the notes kidogo. So we will run the head thingy. We'll run that head command in a sec. Then there is also another command called the user add command. Again, this one is for sysadmin, system administrators. This command in itself is used to create the user account. So you have this new user that has joined your organization. You are creating an account for them. So you can use the user add command, which creates a user account. It creates a home directory for the user in the /home directory. So every user has a home directory. Has a home directory, and that home directory will be created at the /home directory. Then it defines account details. So that's how you run it. User add MMAJOR. So we will try and create a user. And then once we have created a user, then we will be able to look at the details of that user. Let me see if my lab is ready, because I'd like also to demonstrate this. Yeah, good. My lab is ready. So mtu akuwa ananikumbusha nikuwe na refresh your kitu. I doubt if, let me just run AWS. Ukipata error kama hii, you just click here. Format chenye tu anakuambia, and you don't even need to wait for it to load, and then you do it again. That should be able to sort it. Let me see. Bashir, are you here? Bashir, uko? Bashir.
Yes.
Ile lab yenye ilikuwa natusumbua jana, iliweza kurun?
Nilirun, lakini sikumaliza.
Au kumaliza?
Nilipata mashida, nitakwambia baadaye.
Sawa. Utanitafuta after hii class over lunch, eh? Sawa. Okay, cool. So that is that. So that's nice. So this is we go to EC2. So wale nyantaka refresher, just follow me. When nyantaka refresher how to create an instance, just follow me. So we have instance moja iko created tayari. One instance is already created. That instance has issues. Its key file iko na issues. It's still the same command host. So ili kujisaidia tusijisumbuke sana na hii, we create another instance. So you see, I had an instance running. I had created this instance that got terminated. So this one got terminated because of, how do you call it? Because the other session expired. So let me launch an instance. Let me see. We are going to create an instance called Learnly. Amazon that. Then we are going to create a key pair. Before creating that key pair, okay, let us just create it. Give me a sec. Where is this? No, before creating it, let me just do something here. Get rid of this. Stacky confusions. Ianze label differently. So once you're done with the key pair, just delete it, because these ones we are not reusing them. So that's what I've done. So let me just go back to this. Okay. So we are going to create a key pair, and I'm going to call my key pair lab user. I believe that is what we are using still, lab user. And then because I'm on Windows, I'll use .ppk, and I'll create my file. I'll create my key pair. My key pair has been downloaded. That is okay. Then you change nothing. You just go to launch instance. Of course, SSH tayari iko enabled, because that's what we'll be using to SSH into the system. Give it a sec. Ini kitu tu ya haraka. There you go. So we are told that it has successfully created. Let's go to instances. Here is our instance and it is running, but we are still initializing. As it initializes, we can just go on and configure our PuTTY, and then we'll come back and check once ready. So you select the public IPv4, and then why is my window hidden? PuTTY. So here is PuTTY.
Hello, Patrick.
Yes, yes.
Sorry for interrupting.
No worries, niambia.
Yesterday I had some issues with my laptop, so I wasn't able to configure PuTTY. Will I be able to do this lab today without PuTTY?
No, you will not. What do you mean you are not able to configure PuTTY? Were you able to download it? Were you able to download PuTTY?
The day before yesterday, we downloaded PuTTY, but that installation window, I was not able to fill in those details.
Why? Why?
Yesterday I think yesterday is when you showed people to fill those details in order that installation window for PuTTY.
Oh, okay, this one, this active window that you see here.
Yes,
this
yes,
one.
that one. Yes, so I didn't fill in these details here.
Okay, so you did not fill it in because you did not know how to,
Yes, I didn't know how to, because you were to show us yesterday.
Good. Clinton, ulihepa office support jana. Yesterday we had office support, and so during the office hours, we call it office hours. Office hours are those support sessions that we have with you guys who have a problem and you want to be sorted. Maybe you are behind in your KC or in your labs. We spend like 30 minutes, maybe over lunch or Gioni, just to walk you through to make sure that you guys are in the same page with the rest. So we did this yesterday, but I'm going to redo it because that's where I am right now. So Clinton, I want you to follow me and I'll try and go pole kidogo, so that you understand. So I'll not rush through it. Make sense?
Thank you.
Okay, so when you double click, it's supposed to bring you here. Okay, it's supposed to bring you here. So when we come to that, give me a second, I check something. Please accept, thank you. Okay, let me refresh this and see if we have it checked and initialized. So the instance in itself is already running. And yes, and it has passed the checks. It has passed the checks. You can see 3 out of 3 checks passed. So you select, first of all, Clinton, you start by creating an instance. The way I've created that instance, I hope you saw the process. The process is direct. When I click launch instance, it will open a window for you. You key in the name of the name of the instance. Like in my case, I'm calling it Lanley. And then you go down to the key pair. You change nothing. Go down to the key pair and create a key pair. Once you've created the key pair, all key pairs, we are naming them the same. We are calling them lab user because you guys will be doing the labs, and that is the key pair that the system understands and the system knows. So you will name them as lab user. After you've named it as lab user, if you are on Windows, you'll download the .ppk file. If you are on Linux or Mac, you'll download the .pem file. Clinton, back up tuko pamoja?
Yes. I'm on Windows, so I'll download the PPK.
Good. And make sure when you download it, it is named labuser.ppk. Isikuwe na labuser, sijui labuser 1 ama labuser 2 or anything. It needs to be labuser. That is why you delete any other key that you had downloaded with the same name. Because unajua tu vile Windows inafanyanga, sijui kama pia inafanyanga hivyo, you cannot have 2 files with the same name. It will name the other one either a 1 or a 2 to make them different. So make sure it is called labuser. Then ukishafanya hivyo, you come back to your console. This is the console, AWS console. You check or tick the instance, and then you'll be able to see the details of the instance down here. And what we are interested in is the public IPv4 address, which you see here, 44.244.120.134. That is mine. Yours might be different. So you click this two squares here to copy. Inakwambia public IPv4 address, copy it. Sawa sawa? Then you come to PuTTY. Ukikuja kwa PuTTY, when you open PuTTY for the first time, you go to sessions. You can start from sessions and then key in that public IPv4 address hapa, and the port needs to be port 22. So port 22 is for SSH. We'll talk to you guys about the ports, the different ports and what they do later. But for our purpose right now, port 22 is used for SSH. Just remember that. Then the next thing you do, you go to connection. Click on connection mara moja, and then you'll see seconds between keep alives. This one, seconds between keep alives, and change this one to 30. Tuko pamoja mpaka hapo, Clinton?
Yes, I'm following.
Good. Then again, still under the same connection, chini yake kuna SSH. Click this plus. There's a plus here before SSH. Click it. When you click it, you'll be able to see auth. There's also a plus kando yake hapa. Click that plus. And then there is credentials under auth. Click on that credentials. It is supposed to open this window that you see here. No. It's supposed to open this window that you see here. You see, then there is this first box, and inasema private key file for authentication. So this private key file for authentication, we are going to find our key, the key that we created for our instance and downloaded, that lab user key. That's what you are going to find. So we'll use the browse button. Click on browse. It will bring you to where you had recorded the key. If your path is different, mine is in downloads. If your path is in the desktop or in the documents, go find it. Make sure you found this key. And it has to be lab user. Bila kitu yoyote kando yake, not lab users, not labs user, not lab user 1 or lab user 2, just lab user. Select that. Tuko hapo, Clinton?
Yes.
Okay, then
maybe a question. How did the lab user file found itself in the downloads?
Okay, mine generally, the way my system is configured, everything I download via any browser goes straight to downloads. That is how I have defined it myself. But kuna watu wenye system zao zinapeleka that lab user to documents, ama inapeleka that lab user to your desktop. So yako iko wapi? Where have you found yours?
I'm just following, then I'll do it because I don't want to be mixed up.
Oh.
So
okay, sawa. So you follow.
So I'm just asking where if there is somewhere that this lab user was downloaded.
Good. Which browser are you using?
I'm using Chrome.
So for Chrome, we normally see downloads around this place. Have you ever seen an arrow like this when you download something?
Yes.
So when you click on this arrow, it is going to show you what has been downloaded, everything that you've downloaded. And then, because you are interested in this specific one, this is what you're interested in, there is this folder here. You see this folder? This folder, ukieka mouse yako hapo, it tells you show in folder. So you click that. If you click it, it will open where that lab user has gone. So unaona imenipeleka penye lab user iko. You're seeing that?
Yes.
So mine, I can clearly see the path iko kwa downloads. Naona mine iko kwa downloads. You see? So yako itakwambia penye iko, ndio sasa ukienda kwa browse, you'll be able to browse. Like for instance, let me show you something. That was a good question, by the way. Let us not assume anything. That was a good question. So let me get out of this. Let me go back and browse again. So if I browse, and let's say, for example, niko kwa desktop, and I find that my lab user is not here. You see, the lab user is not here. Then I remember when I checked, it showed me that my lab user iko wapi? Iko kwa downloads. So I'll come here and look for downloads. You see downloads? I'll click on downloads, and then I'll be able to see my lab user. So I'll click on my lab user, and then here it is. Then I just say open. Inamek? Umeelewa hiyo?
Yes, nimeelewa.
Good. Thank you for that question. That was a good question. Okay, so after we have done this, after we have browsed and you have picked our key, the next thing that we do, we click open again. Unaona open ya pili hapa. We click this open. Okay. After we've clicked that open, you might meet this or not, but if you meet this, just say accept. It is telling you that this key, that the host key is not cached in the server, blah blah blah. Just accept it. Then we are checking in as user EC2-user. That's what the lab is advising us to do. EC2 user. That is our username. Enter. When you enter, you'll see authenticating with public key lab user, and then we are in. When you see that thing that looks like a bird, it shows you that you are in, and then we have that prompt down there. We have that prompt down there. So far, umeshika kitu?
Maybe hapo kwa nini after nini?
What?
Hapo kwa nini umetype nini? Hapo
login as EC2-user. EC2-user. All small letters, eh?
Okay.
All small letters. EC2-user. Good. So we are there. That is awesome. So you'll try it on your own. Ukikwama popote, just reach out, eh? Takusaidia. Just reach out ukikwama.
Thank you.
Karibu. Okay, so let me just restart this lab. Ndio nisisahau tena. Okay, so we've done that. What have we tumefanya nini so far? We've done a couple of things. We have created a new instance, and we've now been able to SSH into it. Now we are logged into that instance. Now what we are going to do, this was for demonstration. I already told you that the lab, you guys are going to do it in your how do you call it? In your breakout or in your channels. So let us run the command head. Tunaambiwa we try out head /etc/pass-wd. There you go. You see, and the way we said it, you are going to see the first 10 lines if you just run it the way it is. So we have, let me see if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So these are the first 10 lines. Remember, tail is for the last 10 lines. And then now, if we run it with an option, let us run it with the option provided, or let us use our own -n 4. So let us use 4/etc/pass-wd. Pass-wd. Awesome. Let's run that one. See, we only have 4 given for us. The first top 4. This. And actually, you can confirm that these top 4 are the top 4 here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These ones are the ones that we have here. You understand? They're the ones that we have there. I would have made this a bit bigger, but it will clutter the screen and you will not be able to count them properly because they'll have to be squeezed. But believe me when I tell you it is 4. So those are the 4. Then let me move that one to that side. And then now we continue with our notes kidogo. User add, we've talked about user add. So we are also going to try out this user add and create a user. Let us try and create a user in our console. And here, because we are not counting anything, let me change this. I want you guys to see what I'm doing. Appearance, change. Just a second. Okay, so let's use 28. I think it's good. Apply, better. Okay, so let's come here. Okay, make it bigger like that. So we are told that we can do user add. User add. Let's call this user Landly. So let's see if this permission denied, user add permission denied. Let me try it with sudo user add Landly. So we have added a user. Remember what we said, that, sorry, remember what we said, you use sudo to elevate the permissions so that now you become an administrator, and an administrator can do things like user adding and stuff. So the original user, maybe anayo permission yaku add user. Then we are going to check the details for this user by using that command ID with our username, the user that we've created. So let us clear this first, then do ID, and it was Lanley. This is the user that we have created, ID Lanley, enter, you see? So we have ID Lanley, user ID is this for Lanley, the group ID for Lanley, and the group that Lanley is in. These are the details that we've been given. We've been given the user ID, the group ID, and the groups in which this user is in. So again, later on when we'll be doing IAM deep dive, maybe in the subsequent, sorry, in the subsequent weeks, you will understand why grouping users, why putting users in a group is a best practice, because sometimes you might have, like, let's say, for example, we have a user called Ivy, we have a user called Mark, we have a user called Abby, we have a user called Dan, and all of these are, maybe all of these are accountants, or all of these are devs, and you want to give them a similar what? You want to give them similar permissions. So if you want to give them similar permissions, what you do, you put them in one. You put them in one group, and then you apply the sets of permissions to them, to all of them, so that anybody in that group, be they devs, if they're devs, for example, they can only do what users in that group can do. So we will see, and this is very interesting, because in an organization, just the way we have departments, that is the way you're supposed to assign permissions. Kumbuka tuliongea kuhusu list privileges. Utapata devs require permissions that are different from accountants. Accountants require permissions that are different. Maybe you have these Power BI tools, you have maybe even proprietary SAP tools that are used by people maybe in the accounts department. But now, when it comes to people in HR are calling people management. So they also have their own tools that they will need. So they have these services that they need, or this access that they need. So you give them that. So that is why we are talking about a user will have an ID. That user will have a group, that user will be in a group, and that group will have an ID. So that's why you can see here what we have for our user that we've just created, the user called Lanley. So we continue. So you see that, and then another command. I hope you guys are learning about these commands. We've talked about tail, we've talked about head. Now we've talked about user add. Then there is a command called grep. Grep is a command that searches for a string in a file. It searches for a string in a file. For example, the following command displays all occurrences of string m_major in the file /etc/password. /etc/password. So they ran grep major /etc/password, and then let us see the output. Where is that? The output is up here, I believe. Where is grep? Was grep ran up? Yeah, here it is. Grep major that. So you got the instances where major has been mentioned. Major is our user. So for our purpose, we are going to try and run grep on Lanley and see what we are going to get, if we are going to get something. So let me bring this one back here and run grep etc/ wait. It is grep user first. Grep user. Yeah, user. Grep user, and our user is Lanley. etc/ oops, sorry. Pass wd. Okay. No worries, no wahala. Let me see. What have I typed wrong? Must I? Really? Must I? Let me try and see if this is what you guys want. / here. There goes. Oh, I missed this /. It's a directory, so it has to be preceded by that /. So this is Lanley. You see, it is highlighted. Lanley. You see, Landly. So maybe you have this chunk of data that is stored in your pass WD, and then you want to find a specific user. No, maybe this user has left your organization, and now you had maybe, okay, now ombea mazuri, you have been elevated. Wewe ni senior. You are a senior systems administrator, and now you had given a task to your junior, kumwambia, I want you to revoke access for user so and so because they have left our organization. And then now, because you see, in as much as you have delegated, you have delegated the task, the responsibility to have it done properly still rests on you as the senior systems admin. So when you are doing your general work just to check what your juniors have done, you can run something like that to check this user that alikuwa anafaa kuwa out of the system, kama ako out of the system, or even maybe sometimes you want to see the last time that a certain user accessed the system, or you are maybe even doing trailing and auditing, and you want to know when did user this and this access this system, or which users are in the system. That is what you do. You see, use the grep. The grep is like a search. It is like a search command. So we are told here kwa notes that grep is a command that searches for a string in a file. And the string in our case here is the user Landly. And for them, it was the user major. Major. Then we have the user add command. User add command. This user add command, we have already shown it, but okay. The user add command, which command was that? Have they not repeated? Yeah, it is the same. So the user add command command options, the options that follow. Sorry. So let's come back to class. So we have the user add command, the same way we had tail and we had head, that you run them vileico, without any options. Now we are being told that there are some options that you can use alongside the user add command. So the comment field is often used to hold the user's full name. That is what you need to note. The comment field is normally used to hold the user's full name. So options allows customization of the user account at the time of creation. So when you are creating a user, you can actually add options. So see that example. Option -C, comment. That is for comment. And you can see you run it as user add space -C space, and then you introduce what? Double quotes, new employee. That is the comment. So double quote introduces the comment, and the comment is new employee. And that new employee, you've given them what? JDO. You see, JDO. Then -E is for account expiration. Maybe this user is just joining your organization for a specific time. Sometimes you might be giving access to guys to your system, maybe for a very short time for them to do specific tasks, and then they be done. So you can also define the account expiration, such as using like user add -E, you give the date and then you give the name. Then you can also set their home directory path using option -D. User add -D, then you say you want them to be under /user/JDO, then that will be for JDO. So JDO umemsetia home directory path yake, as you can see there. So we are going to, the table provides useful user add command options. That's what we've seen above. Before we go to user mod command, let us try and demonstrate this. So I'm going to clear. So let us try and demonstrate this. Let us do user add. Let us start with sudo. Sudo elevates our permission so that we can do what they are saying there. -C. Then let us call this one junior developer. So that junior developer, we'll call that junior developer done. Okay, we'll call that junior developer done. Let's see if that is added. That is added. Then let us also add another one. Okay, and to access, ili usiweze kutype tena, to save time and also a shortcut, you can use directional keys. The up arrow shows us the need that we used, the previously typed in command. So I've just used the up arrow. I'll change this one to, let me pick Ivy. Ivy.
Refresh labs.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that one had escaped me. Thank you for that. Guys, refresh your labs. Refresh your labs so that you don't get kicked out. Thank you for that. That was a good reminder. Sijui mbona nini yangu inapotelea huku nyuma, but ni sawa. So let us use Ivy, and then for Ivy, let us put you in the same group. Let us create another one. So we are going to add another one, and we are going to call you Mark. Mark, we are going to put you in a different group. You will be in you'll be in junior sys admin. Sys admin is short for system administrator. And then let's create one more. So one more, we are going to create it for, let me see, Moha. I'm going to use your name in short. I hope you don't mind. Moha, I'll use your name. So let's come here and change this one to, let me give you a security engineer. You see now these are the users that I'm creating. I'm creating 2 junior developers, a system administrator, and a security engineer. So those are the details that I'm using. Those are the details that I'm using, and maybe just to make it fuller, let me add one more. Amy, I am going to put you tukweke wapi? Tukweke DevOps. Tukweke DevOps engineer. So these are just some of the job roles that cloud practitioners have, cloud engineers have. So those are the users that we are trying to add. So add, there goes. Okay, now let's go back to our notes, then we will revisit what we've done. Where is my notes? Okay. Yeah. So you've seen. So what we have done there, we have first of all just created the users. We've just first of all created the users. Let me see. So if we come and run an example, if we run ID, there's a user we created called Moha. So if we run ID Moha, fingers crossed, do we need sudo? Yeah, there it goes. So you see, we have Moha. The user ID for Moha is given. The group ID for Moha is given, and the groups in which Moha is also given. Then let us also try and run nani mwingine. Who is this? Yeah, let us also run ID Ivy. Let's see what we are getting for ID Ivy. Enter. There, you see ID Ivy 1003 Ivy, group ID Ivy, the groups is also provided there. So don't worry that maybe these two might be having different group IDs. We've not actually put them into a group. Here we are just creating what? We are just adding the users first. We are just adding the users. So that is important. So you have seen how the user add works with the option for comment. Account expiration, this is direct. You can just take the user that you've created, or when you're creating the user, you can define all of that, because these things are supposed to be defined at the same time. They're supposed to be defined at the same time. Let us try and create a new user and try and define everything and see if the system will allow us. So I'm going to go back to sudo. So here, which user am I going to use? Let me see. Okay, fun. Wacha tukutumia hapa sasa. So we are going to use fun. Fun here. So fun. There is something I want to see. In fact, before, okay. Yeah, it's okay. So fun, we will put in the same category. No, in fact, let me take you to data. Let me take you to data engineering. Data. So you are a data engineer and we have your option as of option C. Now what I'm trying to see is the hierarchy. So I want to do an option E. So let's give you an expiry. No, not even, a data engineer. You're just coming in for a short-term project. So we have an option E. And then we also have an option what? We also have an option, apart from option E, we have option D. And then I believe there's an extra space somewhere. Let me get rid of that extra space. So let me see. Zooming. If I zoom more than what is currently here, I will not be able to do some stuff. So just vumilia for now. But we just have the pseudo add. I've added -C, -E, -D, and I believe also the options that follow are supposed to follow the same order. So for -C is our comment, -E is the expiry. So we will use the same date naming convention in ametumia hapo. So it will be 2025. Let me move after data engineer. Let me see. This is where I'm supposed to put it. 2025. Let's say, is it date, month, date, year, month, date? Let us just use 06. It's year, month, date, I believe. And then the name, that's okay. And then there is also for -D. -D is a directory. So we want to place this under /users/user. So /user, is it user or users? /users, then /fun. So tataka fun akwe kwa hiyo home directory yake. Fingers crossed. Let's see if this will work. Enter. Just a second. Let me see what they are saying. User and invalid home directory data engineer. Oh, home directory data engineer. CED. What is E? E is expiry. Why is it reading home directory path before, or it's supposed to be CDE? Let us try. Let us try. Just a second. Let us try. Let us interchange a few things. C is comment. E is expiry. D. So let us try and bring D before E. If you share something kwa chat, ama mtu akishare kitu kwa chat, unaniambia kwa sababu sioni vizuri. View options. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Let me see. Where are those options? Now. Oh, I'm only kwa Zoom.
Yeah, I meant he can do it on his side.
On his side. Oh,
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Priscilla. Umeona hiyo? It was Justin, I believe. Justin, ebu fuata hiyo direction ya Priscilla amekuonyesha. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Here, actually, that will help us a lot. That will help us a lot. So let us try and edit something here. Just a sec. Sawa. So, let's just redo it. So what we want to do, we want to move. We do -E first before -E. -B, -E. And then let's see. So we have comment as data engineer. What were they saying? Invalid home directory data engineer. So they want us to define the home directory first. So home directory is defined using what? Okay, just a sec. Let's see. Let's just follow this. Because you guys will be going to the lab to do this. So mind kama inakaa ni kama we are taking a lot of time. Let's just get it right. Ndio mkienda kwa lab msikwame. Let us try hyphen user. Was it user or users? User slash fun. And then we have date. Let me do fun here, space. Then we go to the end and get rid of this. So we make expiry at the end. Let us see if this one will pick invalid date. Where? CD. So it is like it is reading what I am putting there. The first time, CEE, invalid date user fun. Okay. Nimeshika kitu. Let me just try another one. I'll not change anything. I'll just come and change invalid date fun, user fun. So let us move D to the beginning. User add D. Let's try hyphen C. Sitaki Google kwanza, nataka tujaribu ku troubleshoot kwanza. Enter invalid home directory hyphen C. So let us move hyphen C to the end. Leaving everything as is, let us move hyphen C to the end. Watu wa Linux, najua you are smiling slowly. Yani mna smile pole mkiona mtu ya Windows hapa aking'ang'ana. Sawa tu. I can see you people. I can see you people smiling. Let us try this and see. Enter. Where? Invalid home directory hyphen E. I give up. Okay, no, I don't give up. You give up how? There's nothing like giving up. Let me search this error. Let me search. No. Let me just copy. Whatever. So let us try and see. Anybody that has a solution, feel free to unmute. What your Linux idea, sisi kidogo. But it is, let us just try and search that solution. Tutapata tu sahi. I'm wondering, when I share my screen, a lot of things are obstructed. I cannot do some stuff. Let me see that. User add. Let me ask my Kuzo on the internet side for a solution. So let's see, good. Sudo user add, that is what I'm using. -t expects a home directory path immediately after it, but replace -e. Correct syntax is given. So corrected command for your case. Sudo add. Oh, okay. I told you Kuzo always sorts. So I'm not supposed to just put them here. I'm supposed to let us clear this first. Let's clear that. So this is what they are suggesting, that sudo user add -d, -d. We say the -d, so -d, and then -e for expiry, then our comment, and then the name fun hapo mwisho. Let us run this. I hope this will work. Yeah, it has worked. It has worked. So when you want to use those commands pamoja, you don't split them at -c, -d, alafu naekezo ni mwisho. You follow them pamoja. Kama ni -d for setting the path to home, you set it immediately after the option, and then for expiry immediately after the option, and then for the comment immediately after the option. So let us do ID to see what we have for fun. ID fun, enter. You can see we have fun created, we have group ID, and we have the groups in which fun is in. So that is that. So that is how you use those commands together. That's how we use those commands together. I hope you guys have been able to see it. You will meet this in your labs. So kama ijaingia, this is the place to ask. because by the way, Leo Labs mnajifanyia. We will be there, I'll be there, Joy will be there, but we will want one of you guys to share your screen, mjifanyie lab, so that these things stick. You need to start building that hands-on muscle. That hands-on muscle is very important. So that is that. I hope you ilikuwa poa. Well, we still have a lot to go. User mode. So for user mode, the user mode command is used to modify or change parts or a whole existing user account. So maybe you want to change details, the user that created Ivy. You want to change details zake, you can change using user mode. So mode is for modification. So an example that is given here is -c comment user mode -c Mary Major major, then account expiration has also been changed here. So what we are seeing here is that what we had initially, unaona umechange hiyo jina major, you've introduced Mary Major, user mode -c Mary Major. So so that one you are replacing it with the major that we had before. So when you go to grep major /etc/password, you'll now be able to see the full details of that user whose details you have changed. Let me look at something just up a kidogo. Okay, good. Yes. So user mode is used to modify. So grep is a Linux command to search text. That one we talked about it. And then it can be used as follows to search for the word hello in the files that are located in etc/password. So you can do grep hello. In our case, we had done grep and the username in etc/password, and you saw it highlighted it. Then it can also be used with the pipe symbol. This is the pipe symbol. In your key, it is not a / or a backslash. It is just a straight small line. So that directs the output of the command to another command. So you can say, for example, you want to list etc/password, but you don't want it to be printed on your terminal. You want it to go into grep hello. So look at this. Let's look at this. This one, it will list all files in the etc/password folder. If you run this command, we have this, and then you're grepping hello. Now it will then go and list everything that we have. When you use ls, we told you that the ls is the list command, and list command can either list the files that you have, or if you are running it where there is a file and folders in that environment where you are, it will also list those folders. Then that pipe, it's called a pipe symbol, by the way. That is its real name. That pipe symbol is used to redirect the results to the second command, grep, which searches for the word hello in the list of files that have been found. After you've searched, it then searches, after first of all, you have given the command of list, then the grep will now check in what you've listed. It will check for hello. So this pipe symbol, you'll find it used mostly when we start doing labs a bit detailed. You'll find that maybe there is a command that you are using, command 1, and that command 1 is used in a subsequent process. So you can use that pipe symbol to do it. That one, I hope that one makes sense. Then, of course, there is user delete. Where there was user add, there is user delete. So user delete is used to delete a user account. We created a number of user accounts, and we can actually delete users. So uses the -r option to delete the user's home directory. If you want to delete back a home directory, your user, you will use -r. You see, user delete -r and then the user name. User delete -r, then the username. So if for example, we can demonstrate here, we had added users, and I'm going to do sudo user delete -r Moha. Let us try and delete Moha and see. Enter there. Then when we do ID Moha, no such user exists. Then if we do ID, let me use ID done, for example. You'll see we have done, and those are the details for done. But now, if I do sudo delete -r done, unaona, then we do ID done to check again. No such user exists. Why? Because we have deleted. So that's how you use the user delete command. User delete command. That's how you use it. Then password command. User password are set with the password command. You must enter the password twice. Users can reset their own password, and the root user can reset any user password. Unaona hiyo superpower ya root user. So root user can reset any user password. So maybe there's a user mwenye system yake, maybe ameriport kwa ofisi akasema he was working in a cafe, he was logged into the system, ametoka kidogo kukuja akapata nini yake imevanish, imeenda tu vum, machine yake imepotea. So ana report to the organization nasema, hey, the first thing, even before we start asking questions, wacha kwanza to revoke your password yake, or we create a new password. So revoking, it ensures that the system is protected. Or as a system admin, you get an information that maybe a group of users, a threat actor has been able to hack into your system, and they've been able to access a couple of things. So what you do in order to prevent further harm, you rotate the password, or you disable every password that was already there as a root user. As a root user. So there are no characters that are echoed to the screen when the password is set. That one we had already talked about it. So let me try and set a password for a user. Let's try and set a password for a user. Which user do we have? Let me see. ID Fun. Fun, I hope you are still in the system. Yes, Fun is still in the system. So let us do, again, I'll use sudo password. I think it's passwd, password command, and then it's for Fun. Changing password for user Fun. So as you can see down here, it's showing you new password. So for Fun, I'm just going to use Fun, enter, bad password, shorter than 8 characters. Okay, so they need more than 8 characters. Let me see. So Fun, that is 9. Enter. Sorry, password does not match. Retype new password. No. It has accepted my password. Sorry. It has accepted my password, but it's telling me that that password is not good. It's a bad password. So let me just re-enter Fun. Bad password, no problem. Fun. Password all authenticated token updated. So the user Fun has a password. Then let us try a different user. I believe I created ID Ivy. Ivy is still in the system. So let's do password for Ivy. Only root user can specify a username. And you see, because I've not used sudo, that's why we are getting this error here. That's why we are getting this error here. So let's do sudo. Sorry. Let's do sudo password Ivy. There we go. Then we will do Ivy mara tatu. Enter. Fails the dictionary check. It does not contain different characters. Unaona password policies. So when you're using EC2, most of these things that you'll see here, again, let me just talk about this one as a sysadmin. If you're a sysadmin, or when you work as a sysadmin, there are things that we call password policy. You will set the password policy for your organization. You will define the length of the characters, the mix of characters that you'd like to see in a good password. Maybe you want to see some capital letters and small letters. You'd like to see some special characters. You'd like to see numbers, a mix of numbers, and also symbols, all that. So about tunaambiwa, the password fails the dictionary check. It fails the dictionary check, but the system has taken it. So we are just going to use it again. Ivy, enter. There you go. So password for Ivy has been created. So let us see if we had another user. Which other user did I create? Well, let's just do user add. I'm not going to do a lot of permissions for this one. User add. which is I'm going to use. Let me see. Gideon nimekuwa na kwa call, so let us permission. I forgot to use sudo. So you'll see sudo in a minute. So we have that user called Gideon. So that is the detail for Gideon. So let us set the password for Gideon, and right now let us try and apply all the best practices for setting password. So for ID Gideon, oh yes, let us restart our labs. Let us restart our lab. Let us restart the labs. Let us restart the labs. Ready. Good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We go back. Okay. So here we are talking about Gideon. So for this user, we are going to set the password using best practice. So we will say sudo. Sorry. Let me clear first so that we have some good space. So we'll say sudo password. Sudo password. Just a second. Which user was that? It was Gideon. Enter. Changing password for user Gideon. So for Gideon, we are going to use the same name, capital Gideon. That is Gideon. Then I'll use number 23. Then I will use those are Gideon. Those are 6. That is already 8. And then I'm going to use $sign. You're not able to see it. Yeah, I hope nakumbuka because it will be asked. Password contains the username in some form. The username is already Gideon. Wow, okay. Sawa, no problem. No wahala. So let us just retype it. Gideon. And I was trying to be creative with them. Authenticated. So let us try and do sudo password for Gideon. We are going to change the password for Gideon again, the same one that we have said. So we are going to change the password. So we'll use so we are going to use talented. I don't know why I'm using 23, but I'll use 23 again. Talented 23 engineer. And then dollar mwisho. Let's see. Again, talented 23 engineer. Should I long password ni possibility of getting it wrong the second time? But there you go, authenticated without any error. So the password is good. So the password for Gideon password yako ni talented 23 engineer. Dollar. T and E are capital. Everything else small letters. We already have 2 numbers, 23, and then we have a $sign at the end. So the password policy equal fit. You see, we don't have any error. So that was that. So that is how you use the password command. That's how you use the password command. That's how you use the password command. That's how you use the password command. So managing groups, we are in page 12 of 33, 12, 34, 12. Okay, it's good. We are still good. What are groups? So let us talk about groups. So a group is a set of accounts. So groups are a convenient way to associate user accounts with similar security needs. The way I had already told you, watu wa dev wanaweka pamoja, security pamoja. For example, it is easier to grant permission to a group of 4 users than to grant permissions individually. And in some organization, you'll get that 4 is 40 or that 4 is 400. So if you have like 400 developers spread across the world and you're a system administrator, let's say of a company like World Vision, for example, which you know is actually a global company, and now you want to give these devs the same permission, it is easier for you to group them and then apply permissions that are similar to the group. You see, you have your 400 developers hapo, umepatia permission now. So the storage location for groups is in the /etc/group file. That is the storage location. Example here, we have been given 2 groups. There's a group like EC2 user, and then the users that are in it are Major, Jado, Ijuan, and Moliveira. And then for devs, we have Jado and Wixulan. I think that's how it's spelled. So for instance, you can give read access to a folder or a file to the EC2 user group instead of individually assigning the rights to each user. You see, to each user. So maybe there is this file that you want some guys to work on, you give that permission to that. So when you work as a sysadmin or even a DevOps engineer, you might be tasked with maybe assigning permission depending on the team that is supposed to work on a particular part of the system. So that is important to note. So this is the anatomy of the etc/group file. So you can see here, automatic storage location for groups is in systemd-x:190:EC2 user. So these are the group members. Then this is the group ID. This is the password, which is hashed. So we have a placeholder, and then the group itself is systemd-journal. So the etc group file is as follows. You can see here. So when you do tail/this/group, you'll be able to see something like this. Let us try in our terminal and see what we are going to get when we run tail. So remember what we said tail is used for. So we are going to do tail/etc/group, and we'll use sudo. So sudo tail/etc/groups. I believe it was capital. Was it? Tail cannot open this for reading no such file or exists. Let me see first of all if I've typed the right thing. Amakama equals specific to the example. Let's see. Oh, I used groups, supposed to be group. And I felt like that. Let us remove the S and see. There it is. So no, just like a simple thing, like a simple miss whatever, it gives us that problem. So sudo tail. So this is what we are seeing. This is what we are seeing. So let us now go back to the notes and see an explanation for what we have found as our output to here. Okay. Okay, so when you run this, you'll be able to see everything, including what we have just created. So everything will be there. So we have these 2 groups. We have a group called EC2 user. Ourselves, we haven't created a group as yet. And we have the devs. And the devs, you can see for EC2 user, we have Jado. And for the devs, we have Jado and Major. So it's possible for a user to be in multiple groups. And that one, you will see it best when we start doing things with IAM later. So the group add, group mod, and group del commands. These ones work the same way as user add, user mod, and user del. So for group add, this one creates a new group. You can create a new group using group add and then the group name. And then for group mod, you can modify an existing group. So group mod -n, new group, you take the new name of the group. Let's say, for example, we called that group dev. And then we discover that that group needs to include also people from operations. So you want to call it DevOps. So you'll do group mod -n, then the new group name, which is DevOps, and then the old group name after a small space, which is dev. So that is renaming or modifying that group that we had created. So we first step, we added a group called dev. And then later on, we discover that in this dev, we want to add operations people. So we do group modification -n, then the new group name DevOps, and then the old group name dev. So that one, it will change the name to DevOps at the end of it all. And then later on, we add security people. Now we want to expand this group from DevOps to DevSecOps. So what you'll do, you'll still do group mod -n, the new group name DevSecOps, old group name DevOps. So then the final name for the group that we've modified will be DevSecOps, having people from the development team, security team, and operations team, DevSecOps. Then Now, once maybe this group that you have created, they were just doing something that was temporary. What they were doing in the system was temporary, and now you want to delete the group because they have finished, maybe they have finished the project. You now run the group del command. This one deletes an existing group, and the way you run it is group del. So if we created DevSecOps and the team has finished what it was doing, so you can do group del DevSecOps, and it will be able to delete that. Let us demonstrate that. Is stick. Let me just. I don't know why this one is just a sec. I don't know why this one is doing the Abasawa. So let us do clear here. So let us, again, I'll use sudo group add dev. You see? So I have added a group called dev. Then I want to modify that group. So I will do sudo. Sorry, I'll do sudo group mod dev. Okay. No. The new name is DevOps. Okay. The new name is DevOps, group mod DevOps. And then I will do, after DevOps, I'll do the old name dev. Sudo group mod DevOps dev, enter. Group mod option group. Give me a second. Let me go back to my notes. I think I've typed something wrong. What have I done? Append gid append the user mentioned by you option list user no, not that. Append gid new name new group. Yes. I missed something. I missed something. I believe it was supposed to be a -n.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one, Cindy. That's what yes. Thank you. That's what I missed. I missed an -n. Sorry for that. I missed an -n. I missed the option. So it's command, option, and argument. So that is that. So we've been able to do that. And then now, one sec. Let me search something here. Created. Just a second. Really? Linux. So let's see. Let's clear this. Let us run cat. Let us just run it without sudo first and see etc/group. Okay, so this one shows us all the groups, and you can see our group is down here, DevOps. You can see our group is down here, DevOps. So this is how you check the group, including the group that we've created. So this is our group, and the group is DevOps. So now we have that. I want you to note that we have that group there. So if we do, the other command that we wanted to demonstrate was group delete, sudo group del. Did it have an option? When you're nafuatilia notes, did it have an option? I'm going to just run group del. Okay, group del does not have an option. We just run it with the group name that we want to delete. So we want to delete DevOps. Okay, let's see. That one has worked. Let us check the groups again. Cat etc. Oh, sorry. That one. You can see now our DevOps group is gone. Haiko kwa hii list. Our DevOps group is gone. So that is the demonstration for those 3 commands. Let's push this notes kidogo. You'll be going for your break soon. So just bear with me kidogo. These notes are quite something. Add a user to a group. So when it comes to adding a user to a group, we have created a group. We started by creating users. I've shown you how to create groups and how to delete a group, how to modify a group. Now you want to add a user to a group. So adding a user to a group is a modification of a user, not a group. To add a user to a group, you can use usermod command, or you can use usermod command and the gpassword command. So let's look at this example that has been given here. Using the usermod -ag HR marketing major. What does that mean? It means that what you have done, you have added this user major to two groups. Group called HR and marketing. And in the context of these notes, the group HR was already created, the group marketing was already created. So you are adding them to a group that already created. Then there is also this gpassword -a. Our option there is -a, then JDO marketing. So adding adding user JDO to group marketing. You know, this second one, it adds the user to the group called marketing. So when you do tail-n 5, you want to see the 5 last actions you took in this file called group. You will see a major, you'll see devs, you'll see JDO, and then you'll see marketing. In marketing, you will see the two guys that you've added. You added a major in the first one using usermod, and then you've added JDO using gpassword. And then for HR, you'll have a major because you added a major to that one. You added a major to that. So 16. Okay, so the usermod command adds the user major to the group HR and marketing. Usermod -ag HR marketing and major. That's what has been used. gpassword command added user JDO to the marketing group. gpassword -a JDO marketing. This one now adds what? It adds JDO to that group, the group called marketing. So remember, the group must exist first. The user must exist. You create the user first, then you create the group, then you put those users into the group that you want them to be in. This one I'll not demonstrate. You'll interact with it in the lab. It is pretty direct. To append a user to a group without removing them from other group, use the usermod command with AG option. So not that. To append a user to a group without removing them from other groups, use the usermod command with the AG option. I think that's the difference between the gpassword and the usermod password. So you use the usermod with the AG to make sure that this user, kama ako kwa group ingine, by you adding them in this other group, you will not necessarily remove them from the group that they were in previously. And I've told you that it is possible for a user to be in different groups. Let's say, let us get out of tech and get into the normal organization. Kuna organization, and then there is a group for senior management, there's a group for accounts, there's a group for HR. Then you get, because the head of these two departments, HR and accounts, are part of senior management, so they'll be in their individual group. Head of HR atakuwa kwa HR, head of accounts atakuwa kwa accounts department, but both of them will still be in the senior management group. You see, so maybe you want to put them in those groups without necessarily removing them from the groups that they were in previously. So you use that option that has been given for us. Then the gpassword command, this is used to administer the etc/group file. Usage of gpassword option group. For example, -a is to add, this one added a user to a group. -d is to delete, this one removes a user from a group. What you can add, you can remove. Then -m, members, user 1, user 2, sets the list of members of a group. You know, it sets the list of members in a group. And then -a, administrators, admin 1, admin 2, sets the list of administrators for a group. So maybe the group that you have created is for administrators, and you want to distinguish this one. Let's say, for example, Ivy is administrator 1, Gail is administrator 2, Habakkuk is administrator 3, Fan is administrator 4, Dan is administrator 5. So when you do that, it will now be able to be saved. It will now be able to be saved. The command gpassword, this one, adds user Joe to this group. The command gpassword this EC2 user sets the list of members of EC2 users group to Martinez and row. No. So that is how you use these two in distinction. But again, what I told you guys is you will be interacting with that in your labs. I think we better take a breather here. Hiyo kitu isync kidogo. I want to give you 10-minute break because taki kuwakalisha sana. Sitaki kuwakalisha sana. So let us take what's the time? Na break ya leo itakuwa refu, so msiende mbali. Just stretch kidogo, take a cup and come back. I want to give you exactly because nataka tumalize notes alafu tuende labs, ndo mwende lunch. Let me see, what is the time? It's 11:15. So let's reconvene at 11:30. Let's reconvene at 11:30. Today you will have to bear with us kidogo. Hizi notes ni mingi. We will reconvene at 11:30. Then I hope by 12 we'll be going off to our breakout sessions. So let us reconvene at 11:30. Take a break. All right. So yes, so good. So wacha tumalizishe hizi notes. Pale kwa lab, let us restart our labs. I hope time haijaisha. Nilisahau kurestart nikienda break. Sawa. So let us restart the lab. Good, awesome, wonderful. Wunderbar. So sawa. Awesome. So now we have already talked about users. We have talked about groups. We've seen how to create users. We've seen how to create groups. We've seen how to modify the details of either. We've seen how to delete. Now we are going to take that information that we have a bit further. We are going to take that information that we had a bit further. Okay, sawa. Ridge, focus in the class. Tutaomboleza baadaye. So yes, let's proceed. So user permissions. So the users that we have, the users that we created, we can define their permissions, and I already hinted at what permission means. So in this section, you'll learn about user permissions and the usage of su and sudo commands to run admin commands. Good thing for you guys, we've already used sudo, so you already have some idea. So basically, when you're talking about users in any system, especially a Linux system, we normally distinguish those users into two categories. We have root users and standard users. When it comes to root users, what a root user can do, a root user can do everything. Anything and everything because the system belongs to them. So they can access any file, they can change any file, they can control services, manage any account, manage hardware, manage the Linux kernel, and manage software. That's what a root user can do. And for the standard user, whatever they can do is defined by the root user. So it's the root user that gives the standard user permissions on what they can do. So basically, when a user is just created before being given additional permission, these are what they can do. They can access any file if given permission to do so. They can control any file that the user owns. If I am user part and then I have created a file.txt, I can access that file because it is mine. I'm the one who has created it. And then, but this kind of a user has limited access to manage the system, because they are just but standard users. They're just but standard users. Then a standard user is a user that only has rights and file permission that the user role requires. For instance, a business user might be able to run only certain programs like a document editor and a reporting tool. The user might be able to edit only files that are located in some specific folders. The root user can run any program and access any file. Only system administrators can use it. You see, that root user is only system admins that can use it. It is important to create a standard user with the right privileges to avoid unauthorized access to files or programs. Again, later on when you'll be doing IAM in the subsequent weeks, you'll discover something that even once you've created your own AWS account, you become the root user yourself, you become the root user, and you can log in using the email and password that you've created. But it's best practice for you to create a user inside that account, a user, and then this user that you've created, you give this user the permissions that are similar to those ones of a root user. Only that there are certain things that for you to do, you'll have to log back as a root user to do. So you will find that having an AWS account, it is not recommended that you be logging in through a root user, as a root user. You can log in as an admin. You can create a user and call it admin, and then give this one the privileges that is needed to do a few things within the account. So tukiingia kwa IAM, we'll delve deeper into that. Yes, we'll delve deeper into that. So use caution with root. Security best practice: do not log into the system with administrative permissions. As in, don't log into the system as a root user where possible. After you've created a root user, then create another user that you can use. Log in as a standard user and then elevate permissions only when necessary. So you elevate your permissions only when necessary in a Linux system. Then the root user is a powerful Linux account. Mistakes can make the system inoperable. That's why that root user, you need to protect it, kapisa, because if you make a mistake around that, you can make the whole system inoperable. And you know, being a system, in a Manisha, there are also other things that are running. Imagine you're working for an organization, you're working for a bank, then you log in as a root user, then you make a mistake there. Every system, kila kitu in a crash, then we have a problem. The root user command prompt ends with that alama ya reli. We call it what is its official name? Hash. Okay, mina itanga hash because I'll be a X hashtag, hash. That ka hash thingy, that alama ya reli. So the root user command ends with that. The standard user command prompt ends with a $sign. See that difference? So we have the hash and we have the $sign. So remember that caution that has been given. Then we have the su command. Log in as a standard user and then elevate permission to accomplish administrative tasks. Be careful to exit the root context. Be careful to do what? To exit the root context. So command su root switches to root with the current user with the current user's environment. Su dash root switches to root with the root's environment. So you see that difference. In fact, I think we should try this one. Sijaran he, let us try and run it. So they are saying you can run su root, and then how do we get back to where we were? Password. Did this thing have a password? Let's see. Did we have a password really? Authentication failure. Did we have a password? I did not create a password. Am I gonna pass? Okay, let's see. Just a sec. I think I remember where the password might be. Let's go back to the lab. Let's go back to the lab. Lab. Let's go to details and see if we have any passwords here. Show if any password was set. CLI, Cloud Labs, SSH key. See only password. See only password. There was no password that was set. Let us try a walk around. Let's try a walk around. I think we can do a walk around. Let us try a walk around. Let's do sudo user add sudo user add path. Okay, so that user has been added. Just a second. Where is that? Created a user. in terminal. Use the user. So I want to use that user. So dash that. So let's see. Let me try and do what did we do? We said password. Nani anakumbuka nini ya kuset password? Was it this sudo password part? Okay. So let me set my password. Sawa. Then let us do so what they're saying we do so dash part. Wait. So okay, again. So dash Linux iko na two feelings. So I'll explain what I'm doing. Don't worry. I'll explain what I'm doing. So there you go. So I've actually changed. I've changed the user. So initially it was EC2 user. Now I've changed to a user called Pat. What I've done there is that I have added a user called Pat. Then I have given Pat a password. So that password was needed because when I'm trying to use EC2 user, it's asking you for a password. I haven't figured out where the password is. So I have done this. You see, so this is what I have done. So I've been able to log in as Pat. So that is the user that we have. Now we want to try. Maybe bad it has some, but let us try. Let us try so dash. No, let us try so root. I want to see what I'm getting. So root. I don't know if it will accept the password that I've created for myself. Let's see. Will it accept? Will it accept? Authentication failure. So the password that it is reading inataka password ya EC2 user. But sa password ya EC2 user inakuanga nini? And let me see what is the default password. Or does anyone know? What is the default password for EC2 dash? Because I think for Ubuntu inakuanga tu ni Ubuntu. I think, let's just see. Give it a second. Set password for the user. So they're saying that we can set the password. So let us go back to so dash EC2 dash user. Okay, yeah, I think this is it, but I think this is it. Authentication failure again. Why? See, I have used my password. Password gani? Just a second, guys. So, okay. I used my password and I set the password right. Authentication failure. No worries, no worries, no worries. Okay, so let me check one more thing, one last thing. Okay, let us not set that one. And now first I will just troubleshoot it, but I need to move. I'll troubleshoot it and then we will find our way. So basically basically you're supposed to have a password. So for EC2, I haven't seen its password, but wanasema okay, let me try what Rich is suggesting. We get back to where we were at, exit. So we have logged out, we've gone back to that. Let's clear. Okay, cleared. So let me try and implement something here that they are saying, because I needed to demonstrate that. Sudo password EC2 user, changing for that. So let me come up with a password because I'm creating a password. Give me a second, I'm writing. Okay, let's try that one. Lanley, $5, enter. Lanley, $5. Sawa. So, wanasema hiyo imekubali. They are claiming that hiyo imekubali. Now, let us try su root again. Let's try the password that we have created and see if it will work. Lanley, $5, enter. Please accept, please accept, please accept. Authentication failure again. So we leave it at that. Let us leave that one at that. I will try and Google and see what the problem might be. Su dash, let me try the su dash root. Nani will come to me a message during over break. Sikusoma, Taisoma. I'll answer you after class. Su dash, let's try this. Su dash roots. Yeah, no, there's nothing like that. Oh, no, it's small letters. Sorry. So su dash. This is Linux for you, my friend. Root password. Tena bado inanitisha password. Let us try it again. Lanley, $5. It's thinking. Imekataa. Let's try it one last time. EC2 dash user. Chatuane kama ndo password yake. Hiyo pia imekataa. Sawa. I'll troubleshoot, and then in the subsequent classes I'll tell you what needs to be done there. But we cannot stay here for longer. We cannot stay here for longer. Okay. So let's just take the notes as is. If you want to elevate your permissions, at least you can shift to root using su root, or actually this su you can shift to any using su dash root. You can shift to any user that you want to shift to, but you need to have a password. Okay, you need to have the password that you will use for that particular user. So make sure that you have set the password. So su is equivalent to su dash root. Using su alone is equivalent to su dash root. That's what they are saying. Only a system admin should be authorized to run the command su root. So su stands for substitute user. Substitute user, su. And you can use su to log in as any user, not only the root user. The way I shifted to the user that I had created. So for example, the following command switches the current user to student 02, su student 02. All right. Then we have the etc/sudoers file. This one delegates specific commands to specific users by adding them to the etc/sudoers. The syntax is users, hosts, or user:group command. Example: allow members of the users group to shut down the local host. So you do %users localhost equals /user/sbin/shutdown-r now. That is what they are allowed to do. They are allowed to shut down the local host. Then when you want to allow members of the dev groups all actions from any host without requiring any password, you do %dev all equals to into bracket all, no password for all of them. So everyone that is in that group, everyone that is in the group called dev, the group that is created called dev, they'll be able to perform any action on any host without requiring a password. Okay, basically a host is a machine. So there might be several machines that are interconnected in a network, and you want, for example, these dev guys to be able to access machine B, C, D, all the machines, and perform actions in those machines without necessarily being asked to authenticate themselves with passwords. Why? Most of the times, before someone is added to this group, these guys have already been authenticated. Now we are all. Somebody is not muted. You know, so what was I saying? I'm saying that these guys have already been authenticated. Now you are authorizing them to access these other hosts. Maybe they've been authenticated into the main system. Now they can access the other hosts within the network without necessarily being asked to key in password. And these things, you'll see them when you'll be doing subsequent labs. This is called BSI. Then delegate specific commands to specific users by adding them to the etc sudoers file. Here, instead of commands, it's actually supposed to be permissions. Now, note, this file must be edited by using vsudo command. It must not be edited directly. You know, yes. It is like, yes, Rich. It's like giving them admin privileges. So we have this etc/sudoers file-cont. So upper, we are just continuing with what we were discussing Paleju, generic format. So this is like the, how do you call it? This is like the anatomy of that file. Vilonona Wamazana percentage student 01. All of them have been given permission and then no password. So members of the group student 1 can become any user, as in they can be authenticated into any host. Then they can run any command without entering any password. If you've ever used Linux before, you find that when you power on your machine and you've been able to access the terminal, and then now you even run the very first command, you update your system, the sudo apt command, sudo apt, I believe it's sudo apt or sudo yum, depending on the distro that you are running, utaulizwa for your password. So you need to key in your password and then move on. And then tapata, for security purposes, other system, especially complex system, every bit of a command that you're trying to run, maybe you'll be allowed to run like 3. Then when now you shift, you are going to a different side of the system, it now asks you again for password for you to access that. So that's just like an extra layer of security. So we've seen the anatomy of the sudoers file. Then using sudo, this is my favorite. I use sudo a lot. I don't do su. The student account was delegated the ability to create users by using sudo. So the same thing that we saw in our account when we were starting, when I was demonstrating, I showed you that yes, when I tried creating a user myself, using the user that had been assigned to me, I was getting an error. But when I use sudo and I tried to create a user, I was able to create. When I was trying to add a user, I was able to add. So that is the important bit. Okay, that's the important bit. And interestingly, when I was doing that, it was not asking me for password, but now it's asking me for password. So I don't get it. Okay, but we will check that. So sudo requires the password of the current user, whereas su requires the password of the substitute account. So that's the difference. Remember, sudo is when I was taught sudo tulikuwa tunaambiwa in full, it means super user do. So you have been elevated into becoming a super user. But for su, you become a substitute user. A substitute user, which does not necessarily mean that you've now become an admin or someone with higher privileges, unless you do su dash and then the option of the username that you are giving is for an admin or a root account. That one now you become a user with an elevated permission. But when you use sudo automatically gives you the privileges of running your workloads or running the commands that you want to run as what? As a super user or an admin. Hope that makes sense. So here, I'm not going to belabor this because I've already shown you this. So hapa tunaambiwa, and I think I like this, sudo is a safer method to run commands because it does not require a password exchange. Student 01 does not need to know the password of admin user. So you just get that privilege by using sudo. You understand? So the sudo command, let me see what Rich is telling us. And if, for example, you give them the privileges, say I give a user a privilege to become an admin or host, are they able to delete my privileges, like demote me from being an admin? No. No. Because you see, for example, in this current account, root is the super user. Root is the super user. When I do sudo, I cannot delete the root account. No, I cannot delete the root account. But hackers, maybe you can tell us, guys who have done some kidogo hacking, is this possible? You've given a user elevated privileges. Ni sawa na umepatia mtu key ya nyumba yako, alafu after kumpatia key, si anajua umempatia key, na umetravel. So ukirudi unapata amechange locks, so you cannot access that house. So is that possible? When they have sudo privileges. But also remember, since this is not being saved, the sudo privilege is not being saved in the machine. This is like a temporary permission that you've given somebody just to do that at this particular time. Unlike su enye inakuwa saved kwa file, sudo is not being saved. This is temporary. Once they are logged out, they are no longer super users. And now you as the root admin, you still have control of your account. So sometimes these privileges are just given to you to make your work easy. But again, as a system administrator, make sure that you only allow guys to use this. Kuna vile pia you can actually define who can use sudo. So only allow this to people that are trusted. And kama mtu ameiva hacking na anaweza kulock out, azikulock out. Sudo logs. The sudo log permission is logged at var log messages. So unaona var log messages. This is a place penye most of these things they are temporary. A command that is run with sudo permission is logged at var log secure. Var log secure. That is just for your consumption. Anytime a sudo permission is used, it is logged as shown. The su command versus the sudo command. So this is important. Maybe someone is asking, so what is the difference? So the su command activates full administrative privileges, and it is used when all administrative permissions are needed. Users are prompted for the root password. So they should know the root password. So the admin must give them the root password. The root password. So when you're anatumia hiyo su, wakishajua the root password, kama si watu wazuri, maybe those ones can now kick out the root user. But now for the sudo command activates only delegated permission. Only delegated permission. It is used to delegate a specific administrative task to a specific standard user. Users are prompted for their own password, not the admin password. So kama utaki kupeana admin password yako, allow them to use sudo, and they will only do it for that particular service that they are doing. Let's say, for example, they are trying to add a user, they'll use sudo that and do that. And then as a system admin, kuna vile pia you can check and see what they are doing. You understand? I hope that one makes sense. That's the difference between su and sudo, and that will not feature in your exam, so breathe easy. But it's important to know because you'll be using it in your labs and you'll also be using it in the job place. In the job place when you guys start working. So checkpoint question. Checkpoint question. And I want us to unmute. I heard Joy use an interesting word yesterday. Majibu za githeri. Majibu za githeri. So you just shout your answer. Kama kikoras. Checkpoint question number 1. Which command do you use to add a user account? Mmenyamaza sana. Ebu muongee sasa. The whole class hamjaongea. Someone tell us which command do you use? Staki mtype. Nataka mseme. The chat naziona na nasema, yeah, good. User add, wonderful. Which command do you use to reset a user password?
Pass WD.
Pass WD. Pass WD. Awesome. How is organizing users into groups useful for administrators? How is organizing users into groups useful to administrators? Somebody? Kuna mtu anaongea?
You can, the reason why it is useful is because you can assign multiple privileges to those users at once. Like it becomes tiresome when you want to assign one privilege to one user, the next. So it becomes easier when you assign to groups of users.
Very nice, very nice. Asante sana. That is correct. That is correct. Awesome, awesome. It simplifies the administrative tasks instead of assigning user to user, assigning privileges or permissions to user 1, user 2, user 3, and all of them, they have the same permission. Rusha au kwa group, alafu assign that permission to the group so all of them can enjoy it at the same time. That is awesome. Thank you, thank you. Finally, which command do you use to grant full administrative permissions to users within the user environment? Which one? So. Okay, awesome. Correct. Keyword hapa ni full administrative permission, meaning that they are able to do everything in their area. Remember what we said about sudo? We said that sudo is used to delegate a specific administrative task. So no, keywords are important. Specific administrative task when su is for all administrative permissions. You understand? So keywords are very important, and start practicing how to catch those ones mapema. How to catch those ones mapema. I am. So let us just do a small intro into I am. In this section, you'll learn about I am. So I am, this is how it looks like in your AWS account. This is the, how do you call this one? You're the icon yake. That's the icon. And then it is in full. I am is AWS Identity and Access Management. So I am is an AWS service that is used to manage users and access to resources. You can create users, groups, roles, and apply policies to control access to resources. And you'll see why this is very important. Then access to I am can be done through the following means. One is AWS Management Console. That one, you are already familiar with that. Then AWS command line interface, we'll show you how to use this one later. And then AWS software development kits SDKs, will also show you how to use SDK. So this is what we have as our I am. And then my viewer management console, ndio nini yake, icon yake. And then kuna hiyo command line, this is the icon, and then SDKs, that is the icon. And then now I'll just invite you to read through this because it is the same thing. There's nothing big there. Then this is just a snapshot of your AWS Management Console. You guys have been able to see this, but I'm also going to show you in just a second before we go to the key takeaways. So remember to restart your labs. Restart your labs. Okay, awesome. Good. So that is ready. So I'll go to my console. I want to show you guys how I am looks like. And I told you for any service you need, you just search it up juu. No, hapa juu. Hapa kwa search. You just type I am. Evo. Then you'll see I am, this first one. Select it. Okay. Yani i-click. Okay, click. I hope you have permission to access it by lab. Error. Good. There goes. And also, when you're doing your lab and you meet screenshots, just be fluid, be adaptable. Sometimes, AWS changes its console a lot. So sometimes you might expect it to look like exactly the copy of what you have, but when you go there, you find something different. As long as you know how to navigate, you'll be good. You see? So this is how the I am dashboard looks like. And you can see here, it is identity and access management, I am. And you can see we have user groups, we have users, we have roles, we have policies, and we have identity providers. So all of this, will do a deep dive of it in subsequent lessons. I just wanted you to see how the console looks like. And then we have access management with the same things that you've seen here, the users, user group, roles, policies, identity providers, account setting, root access management, then some reports, all of this. So we will do a deep dive into all of this later. We'll do a deep dive into all of this later. But for now, just know that that is how I am looks like, and that's how you access it via the console. Awesome. So let us look at our key takeaways. Key takeaways. So the key takeaways, a Linux user account represents a user on the system. That's number one. Okay, somebody read for us these key takeaways as I create our breakout rooms, because you are going for breakout just size. Someone read for us, then I'll take any questions that are there before we go for our rooms.
Linux user account represents a user on this. So multiple user accounts can be grouped into a Linux group to facilitate the administration of security. The root user has the permissions to access and modify anything on the system. You can use the su command to switch to another user to run a command. You can use the sudo command to run a command with one-time root permissions. IAM is an AWS service that is used to manage users and access to resources. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. So I'm trying to assign you guys to your breakout rooms. Just any question. If you have a question, please feel free to unmute and just ask.
Patrick.
Yes.
I had a question. So nimekuwa nikirun this nitongaje the labs. I don't know if you had addressed this question, but why are we running each time we let me copy and paste it in the chat. Like, why do we run each time we want to maybe start a lab, we run this command? Acha ni paste kwa chat kwanza. The chmod command.
Okay, just a second. Kwanza, Priscilla and Prudence, 53 or 54?
Priscilla, 53.
Prudence? Mtawajua vizuri soon. Tony, you are in 53, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Prudence, nangoja niambie. I think I've assigned everybody.
Niko 153 mimi.
Oh, bweni wangu, sawa. Sitakusahau tena. Sawa. Roy, Ridge, Purity uko 54, I believe. Musembi 54, okay. Mark Leonard Langley, Justin uko wapi? 53 ama 54?
53.
Sawa, sitakusahau tena. I'll try not to. Gideon, Habakkuk, Frank unakwanga wapi? Mtu aniangalie chat kama mtu amejibu kwa chat. Frank, I want to know. Elfas uko 53, si ndio?
Yeah. Frank 54.
Frank 54, sawa. Clinton, Chelsea. Brian Wahale. Brian 54, si ndio?
54.
Belinda 54. Basil, bende unakwanga wapi? Basil Okata. Niangalieni Basil Okata tunafaa tumweke wapi? Basil Okata. Joy, Basil ni wako ama ni wangu?
Kidogo tu, but I think ako 53.
Okay.
Just a second, I check for you.
Sawa. Leonard, Joy Juma, okay, I think Brian Kipkirui. Brian. Okay, nichekie pia Brian Kipkirui. I think hawa wawili tu ndo siko sure wako wapi. Okay, 54. Let me assign now the 54s. Mbio. Angela, Belinda, Brian Wahale, Chelsea, Clinton, Frank.
All right. Basil ako 53.
Brian
Brian Kipkirui ako 54.
Ako 54. Brian Kipkirui.
Yeah. Angela 54.
Sawa.
Patrick?
Yes.
Kindly ask Prudence Mwangi to call me ASAP.
So Prudence, call Esther. Call Esther Sahi. Leonard Boma. Wajoy, Mark Wajoy, Musembi, Purity Andisi Wajoy, Ridge Wajoy, Roy Wajoy, Salem Wajoy na Sandra pia ni Wajoy. Okay, so Brian Muriithi, unakuanga 53, si ndio?
Yes.
Okay, umesema Basil pia ni wangu, Joy?
Yes.
Okay, so you have like 19 guys that are joining your room. So that we assign this to Basil and Brian Muriithi. What about Brian Kipkirui?
In 54.
54. Sawa, tumemwassign huko. 54 Brian Kipkirui. Ukijipata kwa wrong room, nisamehe. Utatoka tu hiyo room, utarudi hapa main, alafu tutakurusha kwa room yako. So, if you have any questions, you can ask here or tunaweza enda to discuss kwa rooms zetu. So kwa room, tukienda kwa room, what we are going to do, we are going to do two things. Thing one, we are going to do the lab. It's a short lab. And then we are going to do the cases. So participate. Msikike hapo, participate. So thank you for your attendance. Thank you for your attention. See you in the afternoon. Kwa wenye hatutaonana, watu wangu tuko pamoja pale kwa lab. Pale kwa breakout session. So mkiingia kwa breakout session today, mimi na Joy, we are not the people that are going to do the labs for you. We want one of you to share their screen, and then the others will help us. The others will help us to nini, mtakuwa mna contribute. Finya hapa, fanya hii, mkikwama mna troubleshoot pamoja. That is what we want to see happening. Yes, Prudence. I can see your hand.
You told me to call Esther, but I don't have a number.
You don't have a number. Esther, kindly share your number kwa chat directly to Nani, directly to Prudence.
Prudence, there goes my number.
Prudence, confirm umepata? Umeipata? Nataka kufungua rooms. Yes, nimepata. Sawa. Okay, guys, off to your rooms. I need to stop sharing and stop recording. Oh.